Yo, what's up guys? It's Sam, it's Santa Martin checking in again. I've been a little slacking on these videos, and so I wanted to come back to you guys today, talk to you guys about my experience learning Spanish over the past, oh my goodness, how long has it been now? I left in June, I left the United States in June of last year, so I'm coming up on almost a year now, almost 10 months now, that I've been living here in a Spanish-speaking country. And so I wanted to talk to you guys today about how much Spanish you need to know in a Spanish-speaking country. Okay, so when I left the United States, I barely knew really any Spanish. Okay, I did when I was in high school. I took a few years of Spanish, but honestly, disclaimer of I didn't really take the whole class seriously. I didn't think that I was actually going to ever actually use Spanish, and in that regard, I never really actually learned Spanish when I was in high school. In that time, during my time as a high school student learning, and so. It really took a toll on me because once I got here in South America, I immediately started thinking back to all those different Spanish lessons that I had growing up and all the teachers that I had, and I started wishing that I had taken that time a little bit more seriously. But putting that aside, putting back this personal story and all that aside, um, when I first got here, as I was saying, I really didn't know a whole lot of Spanish, and so maybe that answers the question right away, how much Spanish you need to know living in South America. But honestly, when you're thinking about how much Spanish you need to know in a country, think about what kind of phrases and words you use on a daily basis in your native country. Okay, outside of when you're talking to your friends, obviously when you're having a personal close relationship with somebody, you are using a lot more bigger phrases and going into a lot more depth in your conversation and having the heart to hearts. Well, unless you're a native Spanish speaker or you're bilingual, when you're learning Spanish, it's really not going to be easy to do. Okay, so for myself personally, I've been learning now, obviously, for 10 months and using Spanish every day, and I think I'm pretty good. But at the same time, I've realized that there's a lot of phrases and a lot of different words and slang that I really would just never pick up unless I was in a native Spanish speaking country like I am now. And honestly, I have the vocabulary probably of about a 7 or 8 year old comparatively. But when you're thinking about how much Spanish you need to know, think about what you need to do while you're in that Spanish speaking country. So for myself personally, most of the Spanish conversation that I have with people these days is buying things or just small talk on the streets, or every now and then when I am going to a new apartment, asking about whether or not it has this and what the price is. And really, most of the Spanish that I use on a daily basis that I'm really comfortable and confident with is the Spanish that I use for buying. So I really don't think that there is a whole lot to be said on this topic because I do see a lot of people on comment sections and just reaching out to me talking about how much Spanish you need to know or how difficult it is being able to navigate in a Spanish-speaking country. Well, disclaimer, guys, you don't need to worry about it as much as you might think you would. Okay, if you are the kind of person that really needs to be able to have a heart-to-heart with somebody every single day, and you're going to be a solo traveler, well, you might want to reconsider becoming a digital nomad, especially, or just moving to a Spanish-speaking country in general, because you're not going to be able to have those same heart-to-heart conversations until you really get good at Spanish. So for myself personally, like I said, I've been learning this for 10 months now, and I still have probably the vocabulary of about a 7, 8 year old. So does that make me bilingual? Well, I really don't know. Honestly, I don't think that I'm ever going to reach the point where I'm as good at Spanish as I am at English. So I can keep practicing, I can keep trying, I can keep learning. But at the end of the day, English is going to be the language that I know the best. If I were to live in Spanish-speaking country for maybe 10 years or so, I would probably be telling you something completely different. But it's only been almost 1 year now, and I probably have vocabulary of about a 7, 8 year old. So to put this in perspective, if you want to move to a Spanish-speaking country, honestly, it really will take you about it took me about 6 months before I really popped out of my shell. There was a while when I was just talking to people, and there would be people that are pretty good at English, and I was at the time pretty good at Spanish, and so we could always meet on a common ground and talk to each other in each other's native language. Also, one thing to keep in mind with your Spanish conversation is that depending on the other person that you're trying to talk to, you may or may not be able to communicate effectively. Okay, so what I mean by that, there's a lot of people who really try to have conversation with me and try to understand what I'm trying to say because I do have an accent. Obviously, I'm not a native speaker, and what I'm trying to say is sometimes it depends on the other person how much Spanish you need to know. There are people that will purposefully use really big words and phrases knowing that I'm a gringo and that I'm learning Spanish. And it's almost like they're on the inside laughing at me. And then there are also other people who just intuitively know where I'm coming from, know that I don't know a whole lot of Spanish, and they intuitively use smaller words and phrases, and I could have really good conversation with them, but the other people, not so much. So, point that I'm trying to get across, sometimes it also depends on who you're trying to talk to, how much Spanish you need to know. So to make a long story short for this video, and I will be, just so you guys know, going to a different country soon. So I've been doing a lot of planning, and I'm also doing some new work as a journalist. That's something I haven't shared with you guys. That's part of the reason why I haven't been making videos. But to make a long story short for this video, really the only amount of Spanish that you need to know is for what you are planning on doing in the country. So if you're like me and most of what you are doing is buying things and talking about money and moving into apartments, really that's all you need to know Spanish-wise if you're coming to a Spanish-speaking country. I would imagine the same would be true for other countries that speak different languages. Do I know that for sure? Well, I'll tell you when I go to another country that speaks a different language because that's what I'm planning on doing soon. So just wanted to give that update for you guys, and I'm still going to be making videos. I'm trying to get a good schedule going. For a while, I was doing one video a day, but I think 2 to 3 a week is going to be where I am from here. So if you like this video and you want to hear more from me, make sure to click subscribe. And I'm going to be making a lot more content, going out a lot more, and showing you a lot more of the places that I visit. But like I said, get out of Santa Marta here soon. Where am I going to go? Well, I don't want to announce that quite yet, because every time I plan on going somewhere and I start telling everybody, oh, this is where I'm going to go, I always flip my opinion 180 degrees and end up going somewhere else. So I will let you guys know where I'm going next when I get there. But putting the tangent aside, if you want to speak Spanish in a Spanish-speaking country, just know the basics and know what you need to do. So I hope that answers your question, and I hope you're having a great day. Peace.